group needed to respond. And when I look at the effort and intensity of the first half and the level that we were playing at, it was really impressive. You can see exactly what the guys took on and their motivation to get back to the World Cup. We scored 5 goals in the game. I think we could have had more if we were a little bit more clinical at times. But we made a big step towards our goal of qualifying for the World Cup. We know we're not there yet, despite what that banner might have said. We know we still have a game to go. And it's a difficult game in Costa Rica. So our job right now is to recover, do regeneration, and then the healthy guys, fit guys, get them on the field and go compete in San Jose where we've never won before. Thank you.
We'll start with Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Greg, I guess to start, just what did you think, just the way the team responded, considering the pressure on the night, the expectations on this team? And I wonder if you could also speak in like the 11th minute or so after Panama had a lot of the ball to start the game, Tyler and Christian won a tackle, and the crowd kind of went nuts for just that tackle, and it seemed to lift the team. I wonder if you could speak to maybe just what Orlando kind of brought or what the crowd brought in that moment of the game to help get you guys on track. Thank you.
The crowd was unbelievable. And when I was talking before the game about we enjoy playing in Orlando, this is exactly why. The crowd, even when we arrived at the stadium, the people were in their seats and cheering and really helped boost the team. Panama did have a good start to the game. Panama's a good team. And you could see the guys were processing everything and working through the pressure of the game and the physicality of Panama. And thankfully, we had the breakthrough, and the guys put a lot into it. And I think when you put that type of effort into it, good things happen.
Next will be Doug McIntyre from Fox.
Thanks, Michael. Congrats, Greg, on the win. Christian has spoken in the past about the pressure that he's put on himself, that he's felt, to lead this team. What do you say about his performance tonight? I mean, not just the hat trick, but just the level of intensity that he brought in a game that was so important. Thank you.
Well, I think the important thing was he did his role. And his role involves making special plays and scoring some goals, but there's a whole other bunch of things that come with it. And that's what you saw tonight. His work rate, his defensive work rate, his duels, his second balls, his challenges, passing, dribbling, you name it, he did it tonight. He got the coach's man of the match for an obvious reason, but really strong performance by Christian. Glad to see that.
Next will be Drake Hills from the Tennessean.
Yeah, Greg, you talked about the effort and the intensity from your guys tonight, but also the confidence, something that was pretty evident, especially once the goals started coming. Eunice, Luca, Paul, Jesus, all those guys being involved, especially when Paul and Jesus scored. Just wanted to know how satisfied you were with taking a look at that and the confidence that probably brought to those guys, especially for someone like Jesus getting his goal as a center forward. Thanks.
Jesus does a lot of things really well, and it was great that he also got a goal, because that's a lot of times what forwards are judged by. We don't always use that exact criteria. I think there's other things that we add into it. But to me, or for the coaching staff, he was excellent today, and I'm glad he got the goal. Paul, very similar. Showed up in a great spot, great finish, and when you try to go through and single guys out, it's hard to single players out because everybody brought the necessary intensity and effort that we needed to win the game. So really proud of the group, but like I said, we still have work to do in Costa Rica.
Next will be Grant Wall.
Greg, I hope you can hear me. My Wi-Fi is not working great here in the press box, but there was a report on TV that there was a stomach bug going through the team leading up to the game after Mexico. How many players did it affect? Which ones? Did it have a big impact on your choices for the game?
I won't necessarily get into specifics, but what I'd say is probably about 20 total people in the entire delegation went down. And it was something that we had to deal with and we had to respond to. And, you can't always predict these things. And what we had to do is just deal with it in the most effective way we could and keep moving forward.
Next would be Nancy Armour from USA Today.
Thanks, Michael, and congrats, Greg. Just curious if you've given thought to what you will do with lineups on Wednesday. You know, you've got guys who've played a lot of minutes the last two games in some difficult conditions, and so I'm wondering how much that's going to play in, knowing that I know you say you've got one more game, but the math is pretty much very, very much in your favor.
You know, I think the other side of it is that it's the challenge. You know, this group has never won a qualifier in San Jose. We've never won in Azteca, and the guys are hungry for that. So, you know, we'll put a lineup on the field that is going to go for the win. And, you know, I don't think the guys would want any less. I know the coaching staff doesn't want any less. So we'll evaluate the health of guys. The guys that have major minutes will be monitoring them and monitoring their regen and how they're coming out of that. But we want to put a team on the field that's going to compete.
Next would be Paul Kennedy from Soccer America.
Thank you, Michael. Greg, by my count, half the players who played today weren't even with the team in the first window, and that doesn't include Zach Steffen or who was hurt and Walker who didn't play. What does it say about the sort of the depth of the team and also the evolution of the team? The guys who weren't with you at the beginning were able to get an opportunity and come through.
You know, we really had to call on our depth in this window, and it being the last window and an impactful window where qualifying takes place. You know, it was something where guys needed to step up. We talked early on about the next man up mentality. We have complete faith in anyone who's called in. We don't call players in unless we trust them and we think they can perform at a good level. So, you know, I'm not surprised when you said that, because, you know, it's about having a high level, maintaining a high level, and the national team is difficult because you don't always have the guys that are in the best form or the guys that are most fit, because there's injuries that happen. So I'm really pleased with guys like Luca stepping up, Gianluca Buzio, you know, Jordan Morris is involved now. You know, a number of guys, but it makes a difference when you can call on these guys to perform.
Next will be Sam Stejskal.
Thank you, Michael. Congrats, Greg, on the win.
Thanks.
I'm curious why you made the decision to give Christian the armband tonight, what you told him when you gave it to him, what you were looking for from him, and how you thought he responded to that, not just with his play on the field, but with his emotions, and if you thought he was a little bit more forceful with those than he's been in other matches.
You know, so anyone in the leadership group can be captain on that game night, and the coaching staff talked about it and decided on Christian, I think because of the journey. And you know, you have a guy that's been there before. He was on the field when we didn't qualify, and this was us saying to him, you know, this is a new group, this is a new team, and you're a leader, and we want to show that, and we want to highlight that. And I think when I look at his performance, besides the 3 goals and the hat trick, I think he was, you know, everything else was in line. Everything else was exactly what we needed him to do in terms of his work rate, his effort, his energy, his intensity, and his leadership.
Next will be Ivis Galarcep.
Greg, congrats on the big win. First, fullbacks. Yesterday, you talked a lot about Panama and how important their wing play is, and how important it was for you guys to neutralize that. And it looks like your fullbacks did that. But what did you think of Anthony and Shaq tonight? And as far as your home record, you finished the octagonal with 6 straight wins at home. You only dropped points in 1 match. When you look back on that and how you guys performed at home, especially after dropping points in the first home game, what is it? You know, how do you feel when you kind of look at that record?
Disappointing. Disappointed that we didn't win all 7 games. I think, you know, we had a goal to win all 7 games. We know we're really strong at home. And so it was a little disappointing. But what I would say is that it's about responding. And when you look at the games after that, all the home games, we were dominant. And that's really important. I think the guys got their groove on. They figured out how to use the crowd. And, you know, we had strong performances after that for sure. Regarding the fullbacks, Shaq did a great job. Anthony did a great job, but also the center backs dealing with a ton of crosses and balls into the penalty box. So happy with Shaq and his performance, the tenacity. Anthony's just been plugging away, man. He's been a rock for us in qualifying so far.
Next would be Jeff Carlisle from ESPN FC.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, Greg. I was wondering if you could dig in a little bit more into the decisions to start Paul and Jesus. I think a lot of people thought that Gio would start or one of the other two forwards, but I'm just curious as to your thought process as it relates to those two players.
You know, when we talk about personnel, specifically, we have a game plan, and we try to use the players that we think can most effectively execute the game plan based on their profiles. And Jesus for us was pretty clear of how we wanted to use him in this game. I think he did an excellent job. And similarly with Paul, we knew that he would be relentless pressing. We knew he'd stretch the back line, get behind him, and we know he can arrive in the penalty box. And both of those players are in form, have been doing a great job with their clubs and scoring goals with their clubs, and we didn't hesitate to start them at all.
Next will be Michael DeCourcy from Sporting News.
Yes, Greg, on the goals that Jesus and Paul scored, what were the keys to that happening? What were they doing well in those moments to be able to put those two home?
In both of their cases, it's arriving. You have to get into the penalty box if you want to score. And I think Jesus, is a good combination player. Is a very clever player. He understands where space is really well. And Paul, the same thing. We've challenged him about arriving in the box, getting in good positions, and he did that. Great service on his goal, and he was able to put away a nice goal.
Speaking of Paul and Jesus, we have them ready, so we'll take one more question, and it'll be from Jonathan Tannewald from the Philly Inquirer.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Greg. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We spoke about this a bit yesterday, but you had a little bit of an incentive to run up the score a little bit, for a lack of a better way to put it. Make sure a lot of goals went in the net to have the big goal difference edge, over Costa Rica. I know you didn't want to talk about it yesterday for a lot of obvious reasons, but now that it's over, was that part of the mindset tonight?
Absolutely. We wanted to be aggressive. We wanted to put them on their heels. We wanted to play with intensity, and we also wanted to score goals. So it's great to see that output. I think, as I mentioned in the opener, I think we actually could have scored more goals in this game. We got a little sloppy, a little careless with our finishing in the second half, but it's great in front of this crowd. They deserve to see 5 goals, and Orlando's a great place for this team for sure.
Thanks, Greg. We'll be right back with Paul and Jesus. And we are back with Paul Arriola and Jesus Ferreira. We will begin with questions and start with Charlie Bone from MLSsoccer.com.
Hey guys, congrats to both of you on the result. I wanted to ask Paul, you first, how it felt to get that huge goal, and maybe if you've been conscious that there's a segment of the fan base that has some doubts in you, and whether there's some vindication from that.
No, yeah. First of all, I was super happy as as an attacking player, it's always important to try and make your mark and be productive in the final third. And secondly, look, I mean, there's always going to be people that hate and that have their own opinions. And I just try and stay focused on myself. I know, how valuable I am and how valuable I can be to this team. And so for me, just going out there every day, and these guys that I play with, they motivate me to the max, and the guys in my position push me to the limits, and I appreciate that. But overall, no, I mean, I was just super happy in the moment to be able to score and help the team win.
So Jesus, could you speak on the emotions of scoring such a momentous goal, maybe at this moment, this juncture in your life and your career?
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm happy that I could help the team. Obviously, as a forward, it's always important to score goals, and I'm happy that I did it at this stage. And it's the first one of many.
Next to be John Lupo from Vavel.
Okay. Guys, first of all, congratulations on the victory. Just talk about the way you guys approached this game. You were aggressive. Obviously, you scored 5 goals. Greg said you could have had more, but just to put out that type of performance in this setting, especially in front of these fans playing in Orlando, what was working so well that you guys were able to put out that type of performance, especially offensively?
Yeah, I think, for us, the important thing before the game was talking about, what we needed to do to be able to be successful. And we all mentioned pretty similar things: intensity, mentality, getting off on the right foot, using the energy of the fans, and all those things I think we were able to do. I think in the beginning of the game we might have, we're matched with Panama's energy, but I think at the end of the day the execution was there for us on our chances and obviously getting penalty kicks. But we knew, once the first goal went in, that there would be a ton of space and a ton of chances for us to be able to take the game to another level, which we did, and we're very happy about that.
Next will be Claudio Villalobos.
Thank you, Michael. Paul and Jesus, what makes, from the player perspective, such a big difference in between a game like the one played in Panama? I mean, taking into account the obvious differences of being away and Roman Fernandez and the positions of the field, all that happened at the time, and being local today, what makes it so different for a team to be such a killer tonight? And also, Paul, what makes this team different in terms of going to Costa Rica and perhaps winning that first qualifier for the first time?
Yeah, for the first part, to be honest with you, we put the last game against them past us. We didn't think about that. We knew it was going to be a completely different game. We really tried to just focus on ourselves. That's number one, that we always try and do, is just focus on ourselves. We play a certain way. We know what we need to do. We have the next man mentality up. And yeah, today it was great. We used the energy of the fans, playing at home, enjoying ourselves, a lot of intensity, being on the same page with one another. All those things were keys to our success today. And secondly, I said it before we went to Mexico, the mentality of this group is unbelievable. The way that we think and the way that we believe that we can go anywhere and beat anyone. We're going to continue that. We know that the job's not done. And when we go down to Costa Rica, we're going to look to win that game.
Next will be Kyle Bond from Sporting News.
Thank you, Michael. Congrats on the win, guys. Really well done. Panama came into this match with a pretty clear strategy that was cemented in very physical play. What was your guys' game plan to deal with that, and how did you feel your team handled that bruiser mentality from Panama?
Yeah, we know that Panama was going to come with everything they got. They're a physical team, and our job was to press them for them to give us the ball. I think we did a good job on that, and just not letting them touch us, moving the ball fast enough to move them and find the spots. And I think we did a good job on that.
Next will be Brian Sciaretta from American Soccer Now.
Thank you, Michael. Just 2 quick questions. First of all, how are you both feeling? I mean, I saw Jesus, you were limping a little bit at the end of the game, and Paul, you seem to be down on the field before the end of the half? And then second, a question for both of you on your chemistry together. Now that you guys are playing at the same club, you know, you've been there for a little bit. How is that? Do you feel like that's translating over to the national team as well? And you're able to replicate that a little bit with what we're seeing on this team?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've been running a lot, so I started cramping a little bit, but you know, nothing too big. But yeah, I think the chemistry between Paul and I, you know, it shows. We've been doing it before, and then once he came into Dallas, it was even better. We practiced the pressing all the time, so you know, it made it easier to have someone that you can trust and you can have there on your back that gets your back. And so, you know, I'm excited to share the field, and I know every time we're there together, we'll do a good job.
Next will be Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Thanks, Michael. Congrats, guys. Paul, you were here 4 years ago when you guys beat Panama 4-0 in the penultimate game, and you know the job was almost done. You went to Trinidad. I wonder, what do you take from those memories of a win over Panama and Orlando with one game left?
Yeah, Paul, I'll be honest with you. I'm not celebrating anything. Like you said, I was in this exact position, or very similar position, 4 years ago, and you know we know how that qualification ended. So for me, I think it's just maintaining focus, understanding that we still have work to do, and anything is possible. So for us, you know, like I said, the mentality of this group is and has to be to go down there to get a good result against Costa Rica.
Next will be Ryan Talmadge from Goal.com.
Jesus, obviously Gregg has said several times that he's going to need everybody and that there's a next man up mentality, and especially at the striker position, he's going to need different things from different people at different times. So going into today, when did you find out that you were going to start, and what Gregg needed from you, and what are the things that he was looking for you to do today?
Yeah, you said it perfectly. Everybody as a 9 is going to be used. Everybody brings everything a little bit different. And yeah, I found out yesterday at night that I was going to start, and I knew that this was my opportunity to show what I can bring to the table. Every role, every game, it changes for me. If I'm on the bench, I'm going to support whoever's playing as a 9 in my team, because that's how our brotherhood works. But I'm just excited that I got the opportunity and I did a good job. It's just about supporting. I think that's our chemistry, and that's how we work together.
Next will be Jeff Carlisle from ESPN FC.
Thanks, Michael. Hello, Jesus. Hello, Paul. You know, how does Gregg keep a player engaged when maybe they're not starting every game, or, you know, if they're just coming off the bench, or, you know, if he hands you guys a start like he did tonight? I mean, how does he keep engaged, and how does he build up trust with you guys?
Yeah, first of all, I'll say, you know, being a part of the national team is an honor for anyone. And so I think a part of it is just understanding, you know, you're at the highest level. And, you know, if that means that you're not going to get a lot of playing time, or that you're going to be, you know, not used on the field, you still have an impact. And the culture that Gregg and the staff have built for this group and in the environment, you know, like Jesus said, we're brothers. We really feel like that. Guys love coming into the national team, getting together on and off the field. I think we all click very, very well. And so we all understand that. You know, over time we understand that you know, number one is in order to be a part of this team, you have to put the team first. And when I tell you everyone does that, everyone really, really does that. The most important thing is the team and being successful. And again, like Jesus said, some days there's games that you know, you're not rostered. Some games you're on the bench, you don't play, you're coming in, you're starting, all these different things. You know, we as players have to be ready for that, and accept everything. And when we get our chance, you know, just make the most of the opportunity.
We'll take 2 more questions and start with Sam Stejskal from The Athletic.
Thank you, Michael. Congrats to you guys on the performance and the win tonight. You know, in addition to you guys playing really well, Christian obviously had an incredible game. What did you see from him, maybe in the build-up to the match, maybe in the pregame? Zach said on TV that, you know, you could just sort of tell that he was in the zone. Did you guys see that heading into the game, and what did you think of his performance?
Yeah, I think I think Christian's always in the zone, to be honest with you. You know, I just saw a lot of focus. I saw a lot of focus out of everyone. But you know, like you said, there's something special about Christian, and you know, him as our captain tonight, to be able to step up a couple times to finish PKs, and then you know his great run and finish that he had for his third goal was great. I mean, he's a great kid, great leader, obviously. You know, unbelievable, even better person. So I'm super happy for him, and you know, I know that not just him, but the rest of us are under the understanding that we have to go down to Costa Rica to still get a result.
Jesus, can you answer that one too about Christian?
Yeah, like Paul said from the beginning, before the match, he was focused. He knew that today he was going to be the captain. He had to be the leader. So it showed in the field that he was a leader and he took care of business.
Next is Doug McIntyre from Fox.
Thanks, Michael. Paul, this one's for you. I just want to follow up on Paul Tenario's question a little bit. Greg said that part of the reason he handed Christian the armband tonight is because of the journey he's run. He was part of that squad 4 years ago, as you were, and Kellen and DeAndre. You know, understanding the job's not done. I mean, how personal do you take this? You know, the four of you guys. You know, just having been around in here 4 years ago. Thank you.
Yeah, it's obviously, you know, to an extent it is personal, right? It's something that you know, I've experienced that maybe some others haven't. So for me, I mean, look, you know, at the end of the day, it's a team sport. You know, and I think the mentality of this group is completely different from the past. And you know, I have full confidence in this team to be able to go down and get a result. But yeah, I mean, to an extent, yeah, there is a personal mission, but the job's not done yet. And you know, when it is, then I'll be able to celebrate.
Last question to Andrew Jones.
Thank you, Michael. Paul and Jesus, what were your thoughts on Christian's worm dance celebration after he scored the penalty? So your thoughts on and rate his worm dance from a scale of 1 to 10.
I had no idea that was going to happen. So when it happened, I was surprised, but, you know, excited. I think when you score goals, the best thing is the celebration. And he did the warm celebration. So, you know, I rated like a solid 8. You know, can't give him a 10 because he didn't went back down. But, yeah, an 8.
I'd probably give him a 5 just for flexibility. I felt like he could have been a little more flexible in his worm. But, I mean, I can't do that, so who am I to judge?
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Jesus. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Good night from Orlando.